Could you, the average tune, survive in the world of Cyberpunk? Let's say, hypothetically, you were suddenly teleported into the world of Cyberpunk 2077. Where should you go? Who can you trust? And is it even possible to survive in a futuristic dystopia full of various gangs, crooks, and rogue AIs that could theoretically end the world? One taxi driver at a time. Well, let me be your guide, and we'll find out.
You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Stepping up here with the stakes. City of dreams, city of game.
Welcome to Night City, the city of dreams and boundless opportunity, and your new home for the foreseeable future. How did you get here? Who cares? You've got bigger problems on your hands, like finding out exactly where you are in Night City. Night City is divided into 6 different districts, those being Watson, City Center, Haywood, Santo Domingo, Westbrook, and Pacifica. Technically, you could count the Badlands as a district, but it's not within the confines of Night City, so it's up to you. Finding out what district you're in is very important as it determines how hard your life is going to be, or if you're going to have a life at all, because just like in real life, there are good parts of the city, and there are very bad ones. Most of the danger comes from the high levels of crime perpetrated by the various gangs that call this city home, like the Maelstromers, who are basically cyberware supremacists who see people without cybernetic enhancements, aka you, as lesser life forms and will attack you on sight. Needless to say, if you appear in a lawless part of Night City like, I don't know, Dogtown, you're going to get flatlined pretty much immediately. And that would be no fun, because this video would only be like 2 minutes long, and I got a wife and 6 kids to feed. So, in this scenario, I'm assuming you start off in Watson, one of the most populated districts with a medium danger rating. There is some gang activity, but there are also NCPD law enforcers to counter them, so you should be fine if you're careful. You now know where you are, and you reach into your pocket. You have 10,000 eddies to your name. Where do you go from here? Although I'm very confident that many people watching this video would be able to start from scratch and build their way up, but for time's sake, let's assume whatever force brought you into the game also gave you a starter fund of 10,000 eddies. Now, that may sound like a lot to people who are unfamiliar with the currency value in the world of Cyberpunk, but to those who are familiar, you know that is practically nothing, and I will prove that in a few moments. The most important basic need you need to fulfill is cyberware. Just like how smartphones have become a necessity for life in our world, so too are there some cyberware and implants that you just can't do without, as performing even the most basic of tasks in Night City will become impossible without them. Not only that, but you'll also stand out as other people will notice your lack of implants, which will paint a target on your back, as some will see you as an easy target, whereas others will take great offense. Just pray no one from Maelstrom notices. You are naked and afraid. So the first thing you'll want to do is head to a Ripper Doc. Ripper Doctors are, doctors responsible for the installation, replacement, and removal of cyberware implants, and can be found all over Night City, some more reliable than others. Since you're in Watson, the closest Ripper Doc to you is a man called Vic. And luckily for you, he is one of the most trustworthy and kind-hearted amongst the Ripper Docs. When you arrive at his clinic, you should ask him if he can give you some basic implants, like a data interface port which allows you to jack into computers, a subdermal RFID chip which acts like an ID/credit card and is required to access basic services like public transit and banks, a neural interface which is basically an operating system for your brain and is needed to interface with other cyberware, smart devices, and the net. Vic will be intrigued by you since someone with zero chrome is practically unheard of in this day and age. This will be your opportunity to come up with a backstory, make it sad and dramatic, because Vic, love the guy, but he's a bleeding heart, and if you play your cards right, he might make the procedure on the house or delay payment to another day. Vic might mention that he patched up some merc with a bad attitude. Probably nothing, just Night City weirdness. Focus on your own survival. The second and most important need you need to fulfill is shelter. Getting a roof over your head as soon as possible is essential because under no circumstances should you ever sleep outside unless you want to wake up on an operating table. So if you value your organs, you'll need to find a home as soon as possible. You can do this by going to your nearest mega building. Mega buildings are basically cities within Night City. They are large buildings which contain everything from apartments, entertainment, and even entire marketplaces sometimes, and are where you can meet most of your basic needs, but more on that later. The first thing you'll want to do is rent a basic apartment which can range from 5,000 to 10,000 eddies. So, depending on your luck and the range of apartments available, you could have your entire starter fund completely wiped out. See what I was talking about when I said 10,000 eddies wasn't that much? Next thing you'll want to focus on is getting some food. You'll want to conserve your strength as much as you can for later, and you can't exactly do that on an empty stomach. Luckily for you, most mega buildings have food stalls or vending machines either in them or near them. But like I said before, depending on your luck with your apartment price, you either have enough money to get yourself a decent meal or enough to eat literal human dog food. But if you're really that down bad for food, you could look around the mega building. People often leave behind their leftovers and sometimes some money, even a weapon or two if you're lucky. I know scavenging is really demeaning, but beggars can't be choosers. If you turn on the TV in your new apartment, you might see some strange news. Something about two bozos invading Arasaka Tower, and now there's a city-wide manhunt for them. Well, it sounds like the two of them are completely cooked. Good thing that will never have anything to do with you. Now that you have all the implants and basic necessities required to live a normal life in Night City, you need to focus on how you're going to make a living.
I ain't your average sucker. I'm dead, just like disco. My bank account is 0, 0, 0. Oh no.
Sorry for the jump scare, but your rent is due in a month's time, and if you can't pay, then you're gonna become homeless, or even worse, uninsured. Because let's be honest, it's only a matter of time before you get hurt in Night City. The type of insurance you have will determine whether or not you live or flatline. As Night City is very similar to current day America, if you don't have the right kind of insurance, they will leave you for dead. In fact, they might make the injuries worse. So I suggest you find a job, and fast. Unfortunately for you, however, since you don't have any education, at least any education that the people of this world would recognize, your options are very limited. And yes, that includes your LinkedIn profile that I know you haven't touched in months. You're just like me for real. From my perspective, I can see 4 routes available to you: the factory route, the contraband route, the merc route, and the nomad route. The factory route, as the name implies, will require you to work at the factory of one of the main mega corporations like Militech, Biotechnica, and Arasaka, although it's most likely the first two, as Arasaka generally demands a higher level of qualification from even its lowest employees. Depending on which company accepts you, you could be doing anything from making weapons, synthetic foods, or the latest preem cyberware. There are even some parts of Night City specifically built for factory workers to live, providing cheap and affordable housing in exchange for back-breaking labor, like Rancho Coronado, so you might want to move there if the prices in your area become too much. Regardless, be ready for long hours and limited progression. It's the quiet life for you, and maybe that's for the best. Next is the contraband path, a more risky path which will involve you selling or pushing below the counter stuff like illegal brain dances, which are basically extra spicy videos that are not suitable for friends and family, or illegal cyberware that will most likely give the person buying an incurable virus. Oh, and that reminds me of another danger you'll face. In this world where everyone is more computer than human, you will be extremely susceptible to virus attacks. Depending on what kind, can range from making you very sick to flatlining you instantly. So be careful where you get your cyberware from and where you jack in. Back on topic. This path is dangerous on 2 separate fronts, because not only will you have to shake hands with some of the more questionable chums for your supplies who could easily stab you in the back at any time, but you'll also have to be wary of law enforcement, as if they catch you, you'll learn very quickly that the people around here tend to shoot first and ask questions later. But there's a lot of money to be made here, so go for it if you have the street smarts. Thirdly, you have the nomad life, which involves you having to leave the confines of Night City and venture into the Badlands to potentially join a tribe and help them scavenge for resources. This is a terrible idea in my opinion, because like the name implies, the Badlands are very bad, and you will most likely be robbed or worse the moment you step foot there. Not to mention the lack of resources and the toxic water. Sure, there's a chance you could find a nice tribe like the Aldecardos, but earning their trust will be extremely difficult. Not to mention the fact that they are barely holding on as it is, and now you'll be an extra mouth to feed. But if you think you got what it takes, a loyal family and a life of adventure awaits you. The fourth and most popular path is becoming a merc. This path has by far the highest earning potential, but also comes with the highest risk, as you will be risking your life every day that you do this. I'm assuming that most of the people who clicked on this video are most interested in this path, so for the sake of retention, this is the one we're going to be continuing with in this hypothetical scenario. So you want to become a mercenary in Night City? Well, becoming a mercenary, or merc for short, is one of the many career paths in Night City where signing up might eventually lead to someone signing your death certificate. The truth of the matter is, anyone can call themselves a merc. Seriously, just slap on some leather, get a gun and start loitering around in Watson and boom, you're a merc. But then you'd be just like so many others in Night City. A faker, a fraud, just like the 95% of you who unsubscribed. Hey, can you help a brother out? Let's fix this. And most importantly, broke. To actually become a real mercenary, you need gigs, and that's where fixers come in. Fixers are basically the recruiters and job givers of the mercenary world, and you need to understand something very important. Without them, you are nothing. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a living legend. Without them, you get no jobs, meaning no money. So you want to stay on the good side if you know what's good for you. And just like everything else in life, there are levels to this. You got the low-end fixers. These are the guys that are going to be giving you your entry-level gigs, like shaking down people who owe them money, babysitting cargo that may or may not explode. They're the ones you'll want to talk to first to gain experience and build up your resume, as the higher end fixers will not take you seriously otherwise. Speaking of which, the high end fixers are people who run entire districts, ranging from a retired mercenary legend to a deadly Black Widow.
His 5 husbands have all flatlined under mysterious circumstances.
They are the ones who will give you the big and lucrative jobs, like stealing new tech from corporations like Arasaka or helping high-profile individuals. But before you can get there, you need to climb the ladder. Like I mentioned before, to climb the ladder, you gotta build up your reputation. In other words, street cred. The more you have, the more dangerous and lucrative the gigs get. You need to get people talking about you. Think of it as an Uber rating system, except if you mess up, your ratings won't go down, but your head might. Now, you might be wondering, should you roll solo or should you squad up? Going solo means that all those sweet eddies are all yours. It also means no one's got your back when the bullets start flying. If you like your odds, go full lone wolf, but just don't be surprised when you end up a lone corpse. On the flip side, rolling with a crew means backup, shared skills and knowledge, something that you are severely lacking right now. Sure, there's a higher chance of betrayal, but the value outweighs the cons. But wait, you say, I don't know how to fight, hack or drive without crashing into literally everything. Buddy, this is Night City. We got training chips for everything. Jack one of those babies into your skull and boom, you go from scrub to black ops in 30 seconds. Wanna learn kung fu? There's a chip for that. Wanna snipe like a legend? Also a chip. Just be sure you buy the legit stuff. The black market ones might teach you how to do Krav Maga and also give you a stroke. But remember, nothing beats real experience, and for that, there is no chip. Speaking of skill, what kind of chaos do you want to bring to the table? Because in Night City, there's more than one way to flatline someone, and picking your style can mean the difference between being an asset to yourself and potential crewmates, or becoming a waste of space that no one cares about. Whether that's becoming an invulnerable tank or a speedster samurai, but to do all that, you'll need to pick the right operating system. There are 3 operating systems to choose from: the time-slowing Sandevistan, the invulnerability-boosting Berserk, and the Cyber Deck, which lets you hack your enemies and tech alike. Most of the people watching this video will rush directly to the Sandevistan thanks to watching Cyberpunk Edgerunners and them wanting to be like David Martinez so bad. But those people would be wrong. There is only one path to power, and that is the Cyber Deck. Think about it. In a world where everything is more machine than human, the ability to hack or disable technology makes you nearly unstoppable. Master it, and you won't just be a cyberpunk. You'll be a cyber god, capable of stealing corporate secrets, crippling armies before they even know what happened, or just tormenting the locals for fun like a prick. You'll be in high demand amongst both the mercs and netrunner communities alike, even getting hired to explore the lucrative but deadly old net. The only real danger being the world-ending AIs that lurk beyond the black wall, but that's a small price to pay, so I highly recommend this path. There is also cyberpsychosis you have to worry about when installing new gear. The more chrome you install, the less human you stay. Every implant chips away at your psyche. Every moment you're jacked in, the line between you and your hardware becomes blurrier. You are not V with a separate brain that can take the mental strain. You are not David Martinez who is just built different. It starts subtle, numbness, aggression, twitchy paranoia. Next thing you know, you're punching someone through a wall because they ask you to subscribe to their OnlyFans. Overall, pick an OS that fits your style, your limits, and your goals, and everything will just be Nova, right? Over the weeks that follow, you'll gradually adapt to Night City and your new life as a merc. You'll climb the ladder and go from random chum to a competent merc with a half-decent rep, from surviving gigs that others didn't, and doing jobs that no one else was willing to do. You're not a legend, not yet at least, but you've got the streets talking about you, at least a little bit. But one day, you receive a call. It's Rogue. one of the top fixers in Night City, an ex-merc, a legend. You know she's not someone who contacts rookies unless she's desperate. But how did you get on her radar? Sure, you've made a name for yourself, but you're still relatively new. Why did she reach out? I heard you're fast, takes all jobs and doesn't ask questions, she says. I've got a job for you. Big one. Arasaka Tower. She's vague on the details. Something about a chip. You've been looking for an opportunity to prove yourself. This is it. Plus, turning down arguably the most influential fixer in Night City can't be good for your career prospects. So, you have no choice but to accept. Next thing you know, you're at the Afterlife bar. You sit next to Rogue, and across from you is a man whose name you've heard whispers of in every street and corner of Night City. B, the solo merc you know all too well, who currently isn't exactly himself. The mission? Get in, get a cure for V, get out. Sounds simple, right? It never is. You roll up on Arasaka Tower under a blackout sky. After landing in the building, the infiltration mission goes sideways almost instantly. He's off like a demon, carving a path through the guards and turrets, with you and Rogue covering his rear. Each floor is worse than the last, but when you finally reach your destination, who do you find waiting for you? But the one, the only... Adam Smasher.
I know it does. I've seen it.
You're bruised, bleeding, every bone in your body fractured, and still, somehow, you're alive. V finishes off what remains of Adam Smasher and heads to get his cure. But you, on the other hand, it would be wise for you to get out of here before the Arasaka goons come a-looking. So, you survived and made a name for yourself in Night City, especially after the Arasaka raid. And with Rogue's unfortunate passing, a power vacuum in the Fixer world has opened up, one that you could potentially claim for yourself. However, make no mistake, you made it out fine this time, but you have to remember, there are no good endings in Night City. Whether it's today, tomorrow, or a year from now, Night City will claim you. There are no true living legends in Night City, because the world of Cyberpunk does not remember you by the way you lived, but by the way you died. Thanks for watching.